Behind Britain's front doors, a battle is brewing.
He hasn't had his rent for ages. He's owed 24 grand, boss.
It is disgraceful.
On one side, 11 million renters.
This house is hell for us.
Thousands of whom fall victim to rogue landlords.
They are rat droppings.
It's really, really nasty.
On the other side, 2 million private landlords.
I'm beating down cleaner sewers.
Many facing financial ruin at the hands of tenants from hell.
Oh, disgusting.
I'm just so angry.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
In this series, we follow the heroes who take slum landlords down.
Start a fire, electrocute somebody.
And the experts whose job it is to evict nightmare tenants.
Get that away, man!
Remember what the court said, you should have been out 2 weeks ago.
At a time when interest rates on savings are rock bottom, more and more people are investing in buy-to-let properties to bolster their incomes. But it's a strategy with risks attached, as one Essex pensioner found out to her cost. A year ago, retired secretary Lorraine Cobb decided to invest her nest egg in this buy-to-let two-bed flat in Southend, half an hour from her own home in Essex.
I advertised in the paper, and I must have had in the region of 30 applicants, believe it or not, and I chose the wrong one.
At first, there was no reason to be worried.
I got a reference from her last landlord, who had had her as a tenant for 4 years and said she was a very nice young lady, always paid the rent, no problem.
But 5 months later, things started to go wrong.
I went to check the bank statement. No rent had gone in. Couldn't get in touch with her. We found out that she'd actually gone into prison for biting off a man's nose. Went down to the flat, and this guy answers the door and told me that he was a friend of hers and the rent was going to go in. He was going to pay the rent for until things got sorted out. But I knew he was telling me lies.
The man Lorraine met turned out to be her tenant's ex-boyfriend, Greg. He too wasn't paying any rent, and what's more, her tenant claims he has no legal right to be living in the flat. Now owed £4,500, the strain is taking its toll on Lorraine.
Coupled with the fact that I haven't been well, I think I have been particularly reasonable, and he hasn't.
When she visits the property, Lorraine is so afraid of bumping into her tenant's ex that she doesn't dare get out of the car.
It gives me the shivers just the thought of it. The last time that I come here was asking him when he was going and what he was doing with all Maria's belongings. And that is when he said to me he was just not going to go anywhere. He's waiting to be evicted, so he will be housed. And that was it. I feel wound up. I feel wound up just coming here. Just thinking of him sitting in there. It's a horrible feeling. It is a horrible feeling. It's just a low life.
Desperate to get her flat back, Lorraine has called Chris Sharp from the landlord group for help.
Lorraine's tenant is doing 4.5 years inside. The tenant, ex-partner, has unlawfully moved in, so we've got to end the tenancy with the prisoner and then deal with the guy who is unlawfully occupying the property.
Lorraine and her husband John are in a terrible situation. Maria Downs, the tenant, is in prison for GBH. They need to persuade her to voluntarily give up the lease and in turn get rid of her ex. But that means meeting the tenant face to face in prison.
Very nervous about going into a prison. Just completely alien to it. Yeah, really don't fancy this part.
Hi, Lorraine.
Hello, nice to meet you.
You too. How are things?
Yes, fine, thank you.
Nice to meet you, yeah.
How was your journey?
It was great. It's a shame that we're meeting here of all places, but still.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chris has given Lorraine a deed of surrender to give to her tenant Maria. If she signs it, they can get the flat back quickly, cheaply, and without having to go to court.
We've already served notice. We've served it at the prison, and we've served it by post to the address. All it's saying to her is that you're in arrears and that we're going to have to take action. If you don't, just surrender the property.
Lorraine is the only one who has permission to visit the tenant.
Sorry to be too nervous.
I am, I'm terrible. I'm really, really
You're
bad.
absolutely fine. The prison service are fantastic. They'll look after you.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lorraine's husband John can only walk her as far as the entrance.
You can't assume that just because a tenant goes inside, goes to prison, that the tenancy is null and void, because that property is still their home.
John waits anxiously outside with Chris.
Do you know what crime she committed to get in there?
Yeah, she bit a guy's nose off.
Bit a guy's nose off?
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Over an hour later, Lorraine comes out.
Okay, Lorraine. How did it go?
Okay,
How did it go?
okay. Yes, okay. Yeah, very good. I found out all I wanted to know.
Well,
She has got so much regret, it's unbelievable. And there's no doubt at all she's having nothing at all to do with that guy.
The tenant wasn't allowed to sign the papers at the visit, so it's on to plan B.
What we need to do is give her a couple of weeks to sign the documents, and then we don't have to then go through the process of almost a pointless eviction of a woman who's not there.
Yeah.
And we can concentrate on the guy that's in there.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
If Lorraine's tenant Maria voluntarily gives up the lease, with luck, she'll be able to get rid of her and her ex-boyfriend Greg all at the same time. For some, turning the family home into a rental property can be a lucrative business, especially in prime locations such as London. But for an unlucky few, the risks can outweigh the returns, because when it does go wrong, it's all the more personal. Yosi Harrell has just flown into London to evict the tenants from his 3-bedroom house. At first, they appeared perfect, but they've been making his life an utter misery.
These tenants, they seem lovely. They look trustworthy. They're both teachers, they were educators, people with values. The perfect family that you want in your home. And it's just not the case.
For 10 years, this was Yosi and his family's home. But when he moved overseas for his work, he decided to rent it out. 8 months ago, his tenants stopped paying the rent. He's now thousands of pounds in debt and struggling to pay the mortgage.
I had to take loans. I had to ask my family for support, and It's not an easy situation. I haven't seen a penny in 8 months. I've had so many nights of non-sleep, and today was probably the peak. I can't wait. I can't wait for for this nightmare to be over, and then debt collection begins.
6 weeks ago, the case went to court, who awarded Yosi possession of the property. The court also ordered the tenants to pay the £16,000 they owe in rent.
Oh, my friend.
How you feeling?
Oh, can't wait.
You could have brought the weather from Israel.
Yosi has hired Paul Champlina from Landlord Action to help with today's eviction.
I've been here a little bit earlier. They're here. They're in. They've been looking out the windows, so they know they're going to be evicted shortly.
The High Court sheriffs have arrived to carry out the eviction.
Hello, mate. How are you? Nice seeing you.
They're also allowed to seize any goods, which will go towards repaying Yosi the rent he's owed.
Good morning, sir. We'll come to take possession of the property.
I've got in 245 on the report. That says I don't need to let anybody in.
Just paperwork, please, sir.
The tenant says he's applied to the court for a last-minute stay of execution.
Been no sign of packing at all. It's just like a denial. It's not going to happen.
Despite his claims, the tenant fails to show the relevant paperwork.
Tried to evade the system.
Yeah.
But beat him to it. He's obviously been looking on the internet, Googling, and he's just got himself a load of information that's...
Is it worth me having a chat with him?
You can have a chat, yeah, no problem at all.
Okay.
Yosi follows Paul into the house.
Hi.
Understand. Can we come here just so we can chat?
You can chat, but the camera's coming with me.
Okay. I deeply regret everything.
I don't believe you.
Okay, no, that's fine. I understand. That's fine. I do understand that you don't believe me.
How many regrets did I received via emails?
Because it's so embarrassing. So embarrassing.
And you've been living rent-free.
I know. And I will...
And ignoring my calls and emails and the agents and visits.
It's embarrassing.
Embarrassing.
I promise. Everything will be returned to you. Everything.
You've put my family into debt.
I know I haven't even...
For no excuses.
Please, can I ask a massive, massive favour, Yosi, please. We have got a new place to move into. Please. Just the last 2 weeks of the school for my daughter.
You have, what is it, Paul, an hour?
Please, Yosi.
No way.
Yosi,
no way. It's done. It's done.
Yosi,
it's done. Don't beg. Don't do anything.
Yosi,
it's done. You're not staying in this house. You can't stay in this house because there's a high court writ and it's over. We've sent you numerous emails. If you can't afford this place, we'll help you find a new one. Remember when you were only, in 1 month or 2 months debt, and you said, no, we can afford it. Don't worry about it.
Everything just got so expensive. Council tax got so expensive. Trying to live just got so expensive.
And my life? And I have to pay mortgage from another country. And I live rent.
Yeah, I get that. I know.
So what are you selling me excuses again? That everything's becoming more expensive?
No,
it's becoming more expensive for me. Did you hear me?
No, I know.
After battling for months to get his home back, Yosi's not about to give way.
We're going to give you an hour to take what you need to take for the next few days, and then you can make arrangements to collect all the rest of the belongings with, obviously a van.
Whatever's worth anything.
Thank you. Perfect. Are you focusing on packing, sir?
Yeah, I'm just trying to...
I just don't want you to waste time.
I'm trying to find somebody where I can go.
As the High Court sheriff sees goods of value, Yosi can't help but notice some of their possessions.
These guys bought all of the stuff that you see in a year. They came in from Abu Dhabi with luggage only. They wanted the house fully furnished. So, the TV, the surround system, the huge trampoline, garden furniture, barbecue, and, the list goes on and on and on and on. They have money, they just decided not to pay.
Give me a few minutes, let me get all my
okay.
stuff out of the way then.
The tenant and his family finally start packing some essential items while the locks are changed. For Yosi and Paul, there's no pleasure knowing a family will be forced to find a new home.
It's really difficult. They're really young kids, and it's, they don't know what's going on, basically, what's happening. can't expect to live free and not feel that you're going to be evicted at some point. I mean, you know, even at the last minute when we were going in there, he's turning around saying, "Oh, I'm going to call the court." You know, it's just, he's in cloud cuckoo land to a certain extent. Where they're going to stay tonight, I don't know. You know, hopefully they've got friends or whatever, but, you know, he's only got himself to blame. Now, property's yours.
About time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks, Paul.
No problem, Yosi. Keep well and good luck with the future. And we'll speak about the debt collection. All right?
Yeah.
Take care.
I put 2 kids out there. Yes, I feel bad. I have conscience, you know. I'm happy that it's not me, but if we'd continued this way, it would have been me.
Pensioner Lorraine Cobb hasn't received any rent on her 2-bed Southend flat in over 7 months. To her horror, she discovered her tenant had been sent to prison for biting off a man's nose. And now her tenant is claiming her ex-boyfriend Greg is living in the flat without her permission. 2 weeks ago, Lorraine visited her tenant in prison to try and get her to sign a document allowing Lorraine to take back her flat.
Hello.
Hi, Lorraine. It's Chris Sharp. How are you?
Oh, hello, Chris.
Eviction specialist Chris Sharp, who is helping Lorraine, wants to know if she has now received the signed document.
Lorraine, I haven't received the signed deed of surrender, and I was hoping that you've got some good news for me.
Nothing at all. Nothing whatsoever. So she was obviously very insincere.
I really wasn't wanting to hear this, Lorraine. We're going to have to issue proceedings against Maria to get an eviction order against her and include the name of this guy that's in there.
Yeah. Therefore, Chris, I would appreciate if you could go ahead on the next stage.
Yeah.
Obviously, regards the 2 of them.
Not a problem. We will do that. But all's not lost. It's just a shame that she's effectively bought herself, or rather the guy that's in there, a few extra weeks. But we will get them out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Lorraine was hoping to avoid legal proceedings, but now she's got no choice. The next stage is to go to court to try and get her jailed tenant taken off the lease, and then evict the ex-boyfriend. That means £1,500 in legal costs and a further 6 weeks without rent.
OK, Lorraine, I know you've got better things to do.
Fine. Thank you very much. Nice speaking to you.
OK, good evening now. Bye-bye.
Yes, good evening to you.
It complicates matters because we've now got to go against a person who's in prison. So it opens up the potential for a protracted case rather than a more straightforward case. So all we can do now is issue proceedings on rent arrears grounds and see what happens.
In England today, housing charity Shelter found that nearly 750,000 homes are unfit for human habitation. Most of these tenants are caught in the poverty trap. Unable to afford a decent roof over their heads, they're at the mercy of slum landlords. Last summer, cleaner Olivia Yimba signed a 6-month tenancy agreement on this 3-bed house. When winter came, so did the mold. She thinks it's putting her family's health at risk.
We are a family, and when we are going through coldness, coughing, chest pain, and then bad breathing, I know definitely we're going to get the consequence if you don't move out quickly.
Last month, her kids' school suggested Olivia get in touch with housing charity Shelter.
Hi, Olivia. Hello. Hi, how are you?
Hi, thank you.
Today, Darren DeValley from Shelter is visiting to check out the living conditions and help the family.
Wow. I can feel it when we walk in. It's kind of feel the moisture in the air as you come in.
It's always cold.
Let's have a little look around.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It's not even just a question of a little bit of dampness seeping through it. It actually, you know, my hand is actually wet on the basis of just touching it. Again, I can see a wall of mold.
In the children's bedroom, the mold is even worse.
So whose room is this?
That's the case.
Wow.
What bothers me so much is that the black thing falls on them. If you can hear the way my son is coughing, it's very, very bad.
Children are sleeping in this room, and it's no wonder they're having issues with their breathing. And the fact that there are still families in Britain in 2016 living in this, it's really, really nasty. It's really nasty. Families can't be expected to live like this. It's not a home.
Olivia complained to her landlady about the mold. Olivia's only hope now lies with shelter and Darren.
We will work with you to find the most suitable solution that we can as fast as we can, and that's the important thing there.
As Olivia is in such dire need of a new home, Darren gets straight to work.
On the basis of seeing how desperate the situation is there, I don't think we can just hold out and wait for social housing, even if she is going to be a decently high priority. And if we can help to find even a private let that's in a far better situation than where she is now, I'm sure she'll be a lot happier. She just wants out, and having seen that place today, I can completely understand that.
Darren has his work cut out. Things have got even worse for Olivia. Her landlady isn't renewing the lease, blaming Olivia for the damp, and has even given her a bad reference. The clock's ticking as the lease runs out in less than a month.
According to the reference, I have neglected her property and also causing a lot of condensation, damaging her house. But this is not condensation. This is a typical damp and mold.
Olivia and her husband Coffee pay £550 rent a month for the mouldy house. To make ends meet, they hold down 4 jobs between them.
I can see her always tired, and she's always appointment, going to see people. I'm going here, I'm going here, I'm going here to get a new place. But as of now, nothing good comes from the appointments.
It's too much for me.
Yosi Harrell is owed £16,000 in unpaid rent, and the battle to reclaim his family home has taken him to the brink of bankruptcy. But 10 days ago, his tenant, Jean-Marc, was finally evicted. Yosi has been advised not to let Jean-Marc back into his home, and so he has packed up most of Jean-Marc's belongings himself.
Look at this. I even packed their Christmas tree. Come in, come in.
Today, the tenant's returning with the removal men to collect the rest of his family's possessions. He waits outside while they load up the truck.
Where is the TV?
No TV.
No TV. No TV.
No TVs.
It seems the removal men have been instructed by Jean-Marc to pick up goods that have already been seized by the sheriffs to cover some of the rent he owes.
When the sheriff were here, they confiscated a few bits and pieces of merchandise for selling. TV, tablet, laptop, surround system, drills, and another TV. He wants everything, and he threatened me over email, I have it in writing, that not me nor anyone can take his stuff, otherwise they'll charge me in contempt of court. court told me he can't take anything. If he wants to take stuff that's not his and was confiscated, he can file another claim.
As Jean-Marc isn't allowed in the house to supervise the removal, he calls Yosi from the street outside with a list of items he's not planning to take.
Don't do that. What the fuck? What about... Oh, fuck it. He doesn't want to take his trampoline. He doesn't want to clear the fridge. There are probably going to be some more stuff that he doesn't want to take because I would still work for him, you see? Is there anything else that you don't want?
To cover himself legally, Yosi drafts a list of all the possessions his former tenant doesn't want.
Yes, the sandpit, barbecue Weber, yes. You don't want the gray rug. Okay, anything else? Okay, you're gonna have to sign it. I'll send it to you outside. Bye. So now I'm disposal company as well. Thanks. There you go, and you can see in his handwriting that he's added a pink bicycle.
Some 3 hours after the removal men arrived, they have finally loaded everything onto the truck.
Bye-bye.
Time is of the essence for Yosi. He has to empty the house of his stuff too.
So this sofa is going?
Yes. Okay. It splits into two. Thank you, Dan.
Having lost thousands of pounds in unpaid rent and legal costs, Yosi has got behind with the mortgage. The only way to pay the bank is to sell his family home. And the new owners are due to move in tomorrow.
I have to be out. And I have to, I have to make it clean and, worthwhile for the next guy to come in.
His tenant has cost him £16,000 in unpaid rent. He's had to borrow money from family and friends to stay afloat, and has now sold the only property he owns. But for Yosi, finally, his nightmare is over.
Very emotional, incredibly relieved. This has been a tough year, a lot of experiences that I don't want to repeat. But I'm gonna move on to new horizons. It's done.
For the past 6 months, tenant Olivia Yimber and her family have been renting this mold and damp-afflicted home.
When it rains, you can see the water coming from the roofing, draining down through the walls, this place and this place. That is why you see that the wallpaper is coming out.
And the mold isn't just growing on the walls either.
This is my bag for church. Since last Saturday to today, look at how it has changed. Terrible.
Everybody in the house is sick. So every day they've been taking medicine, but there's no improvement.
Because of the conflict over the state of the property, Olivia's landlady has decided not to renew their tenancy. The next morning, Olivia has a second meeting with Darren DeValley from Shelter. He's trying to rehouse her family.
The children are sick, everybody is sick. We don't sleep in the night. It's getting me down.
And that's why we want to do whatever we can to try and find a way out.
Olivia is so upset, she doesn't want to hand over another penny to her landlady.
I've decided not to pay her this month.
Olivia,
Yeah.
withholding rent isn't the best way to be able to deal with these kind of situations.
I've paid her.
Yeah.
But this woman is very smart. Always accusing me of condensation and then breach of contract that she's been saying, get my deposit back will be a problem.
I know it's upsetting.
It's not easy, to be honest with you. It's not easy. Because working, looking after children, a whole lot of problems. The problems are too much for me. So it's not easy.
Olivia is in a desperate situation. If she doesn't get the deposit back from her landlady, she and her family face homelessness.
It's 7 months now since we actually got any rent.
Landlord Lorraine Cobb is owed over £4,500 in unpaid rent of her South End flat. Money she can't afford to lose. It's been 7 weeks since she visited her tenant, Maria Downs, in prison. She thought Maria would sign papers to give up the lease, but that hasn't happened.
I actually felt terribly sorry for her. That's how I felt when I come out of the prison. But I'm very, very disappointed that she must have been laughing at me. She must have thought I was really a stupid person to have been taken in by her act.
To make matters worse, her tenant's former boyfriend, Greg, is now living at the property and not paying any rent either.
I think if I was fitter, it would have got me down more. But because my health has been so poorly, that's been more important than anything, really, hasn't it?
Today, Lorraine and her husband, John, are at court hoping to win a possession order which would allow them to take back the flat from both the tenant and the ex-boyfriend. Eviction specialist and lawyer Chris Sharp is representing them.
Please don't worry today, OK? You've got to expect the unexpected, but if she turns up today, well, that will knock me down. Bearing in mind,
me as well.
She's in prison. Nevertheless, she could have some representation, we don't know. What we should do, we'll go inside and we'll have a chat.
OK, that's fine.
Let's go.
The hearing is over in minutes.
Going really well. We've got the order. We've got the order.
Ecstatic. Justice has been done. Really pleased. We got the repossession order.
Yes.
Yeah, which is fantastic.
Just got to get shot of the squatter now.
It has been a long time coming.
Now that the possession order has been granted, Maria's tenancy has ended. Her ex-boyfriend Greg has 21 days to get out. Three weeks later, Lorraine and John are heading to their buy-to-let flat. Today's the day set by the court when they can finally get back their property.
Hopefully, we will go to the property and the guy will walk off into the sunset. He gave Lorraine a call and quite nonchalantly just said that he understood that we would gain possession, and he said, oh, well, I'll clear out my stuff and I'll give you the keys. In a quite civilised manner, really.
But Lorraine and John have no idea if he's actually moved out. Their neighbour Glenn lets them in.
How you doing, all right?
Is it really bad, Glenn?
Brace yourselves.
It looks like the tenant's ex-boyfriend has gone.
Jesus. Ugh.
But Lorraine is in for a shock.
Oh, it's hot.
It's all right, it's only crap, love.
Yeah, I know.
No, love.
Oh, what you'd like to do to him.
It's terrible, isn't it?
Please. Oh, it's disgusting. I see what you meant.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
Oh, isn't it low life?
Do you want a hot drink?
Yeah, I'd love one. Oh, I'm so sorry, Glenn, that you've had to put up with this. I can't express...
Jeez.
I'm so sorry.
No,
you've had all the
It's
disgusting smell and everything. It's honestly, it's beyond disgusting. Sorry. Sorry, okay.
You can smell cat urine. Feces is disgraceful. To be bringing family and friends in and out of the smell, it was embarrassing. He is very intimidating as you first meet him because of his sheer size. For my wife, she'd wait for him to go out before she would venture out because she didn't want to cross paths with him. She was intimidated and she didn't know whether he was in a good mood or a bad mood. Yeah. I'm very glad that he's gone. Very, very glad.
I was actually told by an estate agent there is 1% that trash a place this badly when they leave, and this is the 1%. I don't honestly know now whether we will do it up and sell it or whether... I don't know. But I am a good cleaner. Keep calm.
Be happy.
Yeah,
That's it, be happy.
You've always got to look on the light side of life.
Of course you have, yeah.
Lorraine knows she has a mountain to climb.
I can't believe anybody could actually live like this. Somebody that lives like this is just scum. I'm terribly disappointed. I think at the very least someone who lives rent-free for all those months might have made some effort, but no, quite the reverse.
Just as Olivia's tenancy was ending, the family managed to move out of their damp, mouldy property. With Shelter's help, they have found a 2-bedroom house 3 miles away. Today, she's returned to hand back the keys and asked the landlady for her deposit back.
This house has cost us a lot damage. So I thank God I have found a place.
Yeah.
This is the first time Olivia has seen her landlady since their dispute began and their relationship started going downhill.
I don't want to be on camera if you don't mind. I'll speak to you later.
Please, stop, Ellen. Let me get my money. Girl, I need my money, please.
Olivia desperately needs a deposit back from her landlady to pay for the rent on her new property.
I will not come to the office. I need my money because I'm going to pay another house. They stop it, so give me my money. I've asked them to... Okay, go.
It's been a grueling experience for Olivia and her family. But finally, they have a roof over their heads they can really call home.
This is our new bathroom. Look. You know, we've gone through a lot. It's like we are just being kidnapping our whole house. Yeah, I have to use that word. Wow. We are happy we found a new place. At least coffee is not coughing anymore. Wow, look at you.
Wow. Wow.
The landlord agreed that the leaking roof was a major contributing factor to the damp, but said that she had promptly fixed the roof and other issues identified. She claimed Olivia had also contributed to the situation by having a lot of wet washing around the house and by her reluctance to use the central heating or dehumidifier because of the cost. She said she had decided not to renew Olivia's tenancy because she had been rude and abusive and had unlawfully sublet a room. Olivia denies subletting. A week's passed since Lorraine and John reclaimed their South End two-bedroom property.
Completely different, isn't it? Yeah, quite pleased. Every time you cleaned, you would have just so much cat hair and faeces and everything. It was disgusting, wasn't it? It was so disgusting. Then I brought down a steamer and I really went to town.
Including legal fees, the pensioners have lost over £6,000. And they've had to spend the last 7 days giving their flat the deepest of cleans.
30 bags of rubbish went to the tip. We had to replace the sink and the bath where it was all jammed underneath, had to have all the works replaced. Do look at my toilet. Well, you can lift the toilet seat now.
We've had to redecorate.
Yeah, we've had to redecorate everywhere. Obviously throw the curtains and things, and I'm quite pleased it's looking clean. The most disgusting thing was the...
Soiled underwear.
Oh, yeah. Just on the floor.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody in their right mind would have rented it out if they'd known what we were going to go through. I did feel like it just wasn't worth it, but I'm back on board now and I've actually got somebody that does want to move in.
Despite their ordeal, Lorraine and John aren't giving up on being landlords. They're hoping that this time round, they've found the right tenants.